Okay, well, we've had a nice lunch, thanks to Mary, and now we're going to start in again. Um, what did I want to ask you? I wanted to ask you about, well, go ahead and tell us about this blizzard since that's fresh in your mind right now.
Well, if you want a little personal touch to it, I was out on a Sunday on Houghton Lake with a lady I married later. And it's one of her first times she'd ever been fishing in a bad, bad snowstorm. We come out there early on a Sunday morning. It was all gray and looked like it was snowing. And it got snowing so hard that finally I said, let's get off here. I had my car, I was way out on the middle ground. And we got off and went home and I got a date to go to the show that night. But it was snowing. We got out of the theater, still snowing. We got up in the morning. Well, I got up in the morning and could look across. I was staying at Barbara's house there with Edith, and I could look across the courthouse lawn, which is buildings on it now. Snow was going across there. You couldn't see anywhere.
No kidding.
I got down the bank. No, there's two people walking around. The snow was getting on the sidewalks, way up. And over by Harry McConkey, the wind had started to come up. Over by Harry McConkey, one of his awnings dropped down from his window, and the snow was plenty up to that awning. Later got up there. So they were at midnight. The oil workers were working out in the oil fields by St. Helen. And they called it St. Helen Field. It was probably 8 miles from St. Helen. They went out past the Richardson place where the school used to be on that road and out through there. And they couldn't, and 4 trucks started, the oil men didn't get back, oil workers didn't get back in. And so the wives were upset about it, and they finally got some volunteers. John McNeil come in to see if I'd go. He knew I had snowshoes, and get some food out to them. They went out at 1 o'clock in the night.
No kidding.
And so we said yes, like darn fools. So they took four snowplows, and they got us just, where Patty's Pines are over there? Well, just across, you go just across the bridge going out towards, if you were going out to the Richardson, where the school used to be.
Okay.
And they're going up that knoll, and those 4 trucks couldn't get any farther. The snow was up to the doors. They couldn't get any further, so John and I got out, put on our snowshoes, and we had a backpack, and we had a few loaves of bread and a pound of coffee. I don't know, we had 2 or 3 other things. They each had a pack on our back. We started out on our snowshoes, and you couldn't see the fences on the road. And after that, all over there were no fences. We're right in there's just this open jack pines, and sometimes we'd be almost up to the trees before we'd swing over into the middle more. And we snowshoed out to the Richardson farm. You know where that is?
Yes.
Well, we got out to the Richardson farm, and the snow was over the fences. And we walked in the fields part of the time. We walked right over top of the fences. And it wasn't that way because it piled here and piled there and blowing off. And we got to the Richardson farm and we was going to get a drink of water. And we stopped at Liggs sawmill out there, if you know where that is, and got water there. And we got in, and Mrs. Richardson were gone. They were gone. And the Richardson girl, the youngest one of the 13.
Dorothy?
Dorothy was there, and a hired man was there, and they had a half a dozen cows or more. And so we stopped to get some water, and they said, well, you better go any further because we just got it by phone that these men got part way in, they got into a house for the night someplace. So we stayed at the Richardson farm out there, and their hired man was from out off in a farm down in the east of, or south of Houghton Lake, Eggleston Farm, and we got out, and they'd got in there to stay the first hour. So we come back, we stayed all night at Richardson, and this hired man they got out there, he was a pretty good dairyman. They had 8 or 9 cows they were milking. So I milked 2 cows. That was the last cows I milked in my life. My hand was so stiff, because I had been doing that for years. I 2 cows at night and in the morning. And we got, and they got some breakfast for us, the hired man and their daughter, and we got something. We stuck out. The snow had pretty well broken all, but we started right out. We went right over the fence and through the fields, and we got off Percy Legs, and we stopped to get a drink in there on the way back. And he said, "If you fellows will wait for this," he says, "I have 30 men out here in the sawmill." He said, "I'm gonna have to have some food." He said, "If you wait for a while," I said, "I'll take the sleighs apart. We'll use just one bunk and put a team of horses. We'll go through the woods." So, so he put a box on that and nailed it on
On the sleigh.
And he got the team. We went out through the woods and saw the team was belly deep to snow most all the way. We got into Roscommon in the afternoon, and people come out, took our pictures, and Harry McConkey's, the snow was over top of the awning, and people was trying to dig out. Worst snowstorm the old timers said they ever had over there. But that's in the paper over there, right, quite in detail.
Is it? What year was that?
Oh gosh, it's got to be before I went to the Army. It's in the 30s.
Because my mother was there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, you could tell. But they rewrote that here, 4 or 5 years ago. That was in
did
the
they?
paper again, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
had McNeil and I was in the, McNeil was a dog man. He had a dog kennel, and
Oh.
he trained dogs.
Oh.
He trained them for the Detroit hunters and guys that wanted a good dog.
Uh-huh.
So we got our picture, our name in the paper twice on that deal.
And you never did see the men from the oil field.
And we never did see them. No, they got home. They got into the other place. Their wives, though, when we were getting ready to go, we got ready in about 10 minutes, and we got our bags and coats and boots and stuff. Their wives come down there with blankets and food and everything. John said, "My God, what do you think, we are oxen?" They thought we could take blankets to them. Oh, gee.
Well, good thing you were young and full of vim and vigor.
Well, I was in my 30s.
Sure, sure. Well,
Yeah, that's young. You had us young.
Sure.
But I remember that, and I remember John.
Well, that was quite an experience.
Yeah, it was one of the little things. But that had that snow, brought that snow fall back to some of the old timers over there that remembered it. You couldn't get out with any. You couldn't get to Greeley. You couldn't get outside of town. That's when mother and one of her school teacher pals, our ladies, they was going to go out to see
Mrs. Legg.
No, I'll tell you, her son worked at a bank with, very popular. And it was
Osling?
Oslings, farm. And they got out just up before you get to where the new school is there, not the high school, but the elementary school. And the snow was so deep they couldn't see snow. They couldn't see his fence posts. And Eileen fell down and she couldn't get up. And some guy comes through with a team of horses and bringing sleighs, and he helped her get help to. I forgot the girl. You know her too. Anyway,
Mary Lockery.
Mary Lockery, and he got them back. He got them back into town with a team of horses. That was our first and last experience. Trying to buck a snowstorm.
Yeah.
But it was all over with when they got stuck and they couldn't, snow was down first, they couldn't even roll out of it.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that was the biggest snowstorm I ever experienced.
We don't have that anymore.
No, not, but they're out. Usually when the storm starts, they're out with the snow plows and keep patrolling. One plow right after another.
Yeah.
They keep the plows going all night.
Well,
But that was the heaviest snowstorm the old timers had seen in a long, long time.
Well, we'll have to look up that article about it. Let's go back to when you had the accident with Mr. Barnes,
Oh.
and you had 24 broken bones.
Well, it was just about as simple as a nice storm on. I'd been to the board meeting, and he wanted to get back to Lansing. And so my folks lived down there, and I volunteered to take him down. I was staying a day or so with my folks. And it was icy. You couldn't stand up hardly. and there's snowing and blowing and water.
What car were you driving then?
I was driving my own. I had a Model A,
Oh, okay.
and Mr. Barnes, 80 years old. God, tie it down here.
Yeah.
I'll do it this way. Mr. Barnes was in his 80s, early 80s, and we got down with and that's before they had the sanders that they have in the highway, with the automatic, and fill them with sand, and the wheels go, and they used to load the trucks by hand, and they had big sand piles along the side of the road every few miles that they'd stockpile in the summer, and then they got a snowstorm, they could run their trucks there, and there'd be 3 or 4 or 5. But it turned out this night, it's so bad, they had eight guys out by this pile of snow, and the pavement itself was just like glass. And here comes this big truck barreling away, and it's whipping. And I got her down in the ditch. I was forced pavement. That's what it's gravel. And there was two lanes with gravel, and they had big flash pile. And there happened to be 22 people in trucks, just loading trucks to go out on the
Loading that sand?
to spread the sand. And guys were bringing sand in. There were 22 altogether that saw this. And I got down in as far as the ditch. This guy come right into this truck, Mr. Barnes, and he hit on my side with his truck. And Mr. Barnes was sitting on this side, and he came right over me and hit his head on the crank of the handle right here. Went right in, and it broke 24 bones for me.
And he was killed instantly, wasn't he?
What?
He was killed instantly.
Instantly, yeah. Instantly.
So then,
That's a funny feeling if you have somebody, you're driving, somebody's
terrible.
killed.
Yeah. So you were taken to where?
I took it with the doc. They got all the Doc Marks. They got him down. They got him down to down below Houghton Lake. It was a question of whether they should go to Clare or go to Grayling or where to go. So he come right up to Roscommon, and in the meantime I'd come out of it, so I knew what was going on. I didn't go completely out at any time.
Really?
I was just hurting,
And
he checked me real good. He said, we'll wait and take you up to the hospital when we get an ambulance in the morning. They didn't have an ambulance in the county, and they had to get an ambulance from Grayling to come down. So they got me up there, and
so they took you to his house?
they
Dr. Marks' house?
My mother and father were staying in that place for the winter, right across the dock.
Oh,
So,
I thought you.
nights.
I thought you were saying they were coming. They came up after your accident to take care of you.
Oh, my folks, no, they
Yeah.
were already
Oh,
there.
they were already
oh,
there.
yeah, they were
Oh,
coming.
okay.
I had them up there for the winter
Oh,
because
okay.
Mrs. Knight was going away, and so I just took the house for the winter.
Okay, and so we're
Yeah.
talking about
And
the
his dad
house
come
at
up for deer hunting
104
and-
South
yeah.
5th Street.
So my mother was across the road there in a nice home, and so they got me up to Grayling and x-rayed 24 broken bones, but my organs were not damaged too much. It just shook up, and I'm a bad back and all that. So Doc says, I'm going to take you right back and let your mother take care of you. He says, I can come in. Every time I come back to my office, he says, I can come in and look at you.
Wow.
And they had me out and going to football games in about 3 months, or basketball games.
Wow. So were your legs broken or what?
No, just my
Ribs.
where Mr. Barnes came against me, and it broke 'em on both sides and pulled them away here, right down through.
Oh, wow. Right. Way
And broke
from
them
your
there.
back.
He's
So
down
your
back.
mother was a good nurse.
Yeah, she's a good nurse. The doctor was a good doctor too.
Uh-huh.
And incidentally, his wife was was a nurse at Grayling.
Oh, was
so
she?
she come over every day and looked at me for 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
That would
Okay.
be, Ann Foisey.
Yeah.
That would be
It's her
Ann's
fault.
mother and dad.
Right. Yeah. So. So you survived that okay eventually.
Is this all going on now?
This is all on there. The Knights, the Knights were not living there? You said they went downstate,
We were living there. They had gone someplace. in
but
the
that
winter.
was a duplex. Was there someone else on the other half?
No? Oh, I guess they were, yeah. I guess they were somebody on the other side, because we only had 2 bedrooms. Yeah,
Were you on the part with the upstairs?
right straight from the door in.
Bedrooms were upstairs?
No, I was downstairs. I couldn't have gone upstairs.
Oh, you were down, okay. So you were on the side closest to town?
Towards the garage.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Now, I didn't know that that your folks had been there, so we can add that name to our list of occupants.
Guy,
A lot of people lived in that house over the years.
Guy and Bertha one.
Okay.
Her name Guy, G-U-I, and Bertha.
G-U-Y, okay. Yeah, we'll put that down. That's great. Great to know that. What was Mrs. Knight? That was Lillian's mother, wasn't it? Okay. Let's go on to the,
All down there in the old,
Okay,
that was, the county barns were down there and some old buildings, but that wasn't a lumberjack town anymore. I mean,
but it had been?
it had been, the lumberjacks, they had fights, the guys uptown and the guys down at the rail, they called that the, well, we called it the county barns, but before that, it was lower Roscommon. Probably somebody could bring you up on that one.
So were there actually little cabins that people lived in?
Well,
in
yeah,
that area?
they had some old
On the
buildings down
river?
there, some old buildings, just the lumberjacks lived in there.
Huh.
I don't know if there were, I think there was a couple houses down there, the county road boys worked down, I think were in there, but I'm a little off on those. But I know that's why the county barns were, and I
Sure.
know that's why they used to have their problems with the uptown lumberjacks and the lower town.
There was an upper and a lower town, huh?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Really, isn't that something? Did you, well, you were past that. Tell me about the basketball. You said that you went to basketball games?
We went to basketball games, the independents and the schools, Houghton Lake, Grayling, Mile. Well, it was a usual
Circle. Well, it's still that way today. Everyone in town follows the basketball.
Yeah, that's
team.
right. And,
Sure.
and when they had, I don't know if they have town teams anymore.
No, they don't.
They had some good town teams. And then the CCC boys came in. They were quite a while they were there. You've heard of the CCCs. And they had some pretty good basketball team, but they had to use Grayling, Kalkaska, Roscommon, use the towns gave them each one of the teams one night to practice,
In
or
the
one
school
afternoon
gym,
for the
you mean?
CCC.
Uh-huh.
And those young guys, especially they had up to Kalkaska, they had a black camp up there. They had 200 men and 200 boys, and a couple men in charge of the base, and they had some good basketball. And they come down and played with the Roscommon boys. When they played they'd bring in 2 or 3 of the CC boys to load them up a little bit when they'd go up to the other towns to play.
Great. That was neat. That was neat.
Yeah, they were there for quite a while I was there. That's history, those CCCs.
That's before you went in the service. That was before.
Yeah,
you
that was between the time I went up there. They were there when I went up.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they weren't there too many. By the time I got out of there, the CCCs were pretty well over with.
Okay. Well, let's get back to, we left you, when you returned from the service and your wife was in Mount Pleasant.
She completed her
Her year.
her year, and then she taught up to Roscommon again.
Then did you live there in Roscommon, or did you come to Houghton Lake at that time?
We come to Houghton Lake. Yeah.
I don't think, she didn't go back teaching though in Roscommon, I don't think, did she?
I think just temporarily, yeah. I'm not sure for
I
that.
don't think she did, because John was born.
But we stayed down at for a while at Mrs. Down at Prudenville, but I left until we.
The Heights down there.
So we finally, I moved us. We got to a little cabin, moved it right here back, and that's where our garage is now. And then later I sold it. We moved it and I sold it to Mary, and she sold it this last year.
Yeah, I lived in in it. It was a pioneer log.
Oh.
They built it on the back where the garage is while this house was being built. They lived in that. And then have it as like a.
So we lived in
guest
there.
Oh,
John,
nice.
my first baby was born in there.
Okay.
We just, but in the meantime, we got this. So I forgot what month we come in. It was fall that we came in here. Then later years we built on this addition here, and
Very
some
nice.
other
And we're at 402
shoreline.
Shoreline on Houghton Lake.
We didn't
Lovely
anticipate.
spot, South Shore.
I figured on going back to Roscommon, but Houghton Lake grew so, and then we put another office down in Prudenville.
Okay, that was the Roscommon
So-
State Bank
so-
branch.
Yeah, so I built this. I figured, well, if I went back, they would sell this. We're out on the lakefront, and we never got off. So we put a addition on, raise a family here.
Great.
One of them.
That's wonderful. And so,
They used to puddle around out in the lake most of their time,
Well,
especially in the summertime. The neighbor kids had a big time here.
nice place to grow up.
Very nice place to grow up.
Yeah.
Something to remember.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Well, that's my story, and I'm stuck with it.
Well, you're sticking to it. Well, as the bank grew, were you at the Houghton Lake branch the rest of your time with the bank?
No, after we got Houghton Lake set up, I've spent half my time between the branches and half the time in Roscommon.
Oh, okay.
So I was president 23 years,
Oh, wow.
and then Percy took my place when I retired.
Okay.
But I made it to Houghton Lake and Prudenville, tried to each office once a week, and then St. Helens, tried as much as I could, and then we had Higgins Lake, Mile, and Fairview.
Oh,
We had seven offices.
so you really took care of the area.
Well, I tried to go if they had any problems or any.
Sure.
So
Let's go back to Art Osling. You said you and he worked together?
we worked together. We were best of friends. We became good friends before we got into the bank. When I went to Roscommon, Art was working for the welfare office.
Oh,
They took the whole county. He delivered stuff, worked in the books on that, and on the days that the people would come each day a week to office and pick up. A lot of them would come and pick up their stuff, potatoes and oranges and eggs and all that stuff. So Art worked down in the basement. I got acquainted with him. I liked the guy, and we finally had an agreement. You get somebody to take your place, and we'll hire you. Which he did. He was with us till the war. And he went in before I did, and he went out to. They sent him out to not Montana, but I think it was Colorado. Anyway, one of those states right in the Midwest or Western. And he came home for his first furlough. And a couple of friends of mine, guys from Lansing, come up. And they were spearing. They used to spear fish out of Higgins Lake in the fall using an artificial light, an electric bulb under the water. You could spear and get whitefish. So these two fellows come up, and Art was home on his furlough. And they insisted on his going. He knew them pretty well. And they went out there, and a bad wind come up, and they never got off the lake. Three of them drowned. And that was...
must have been terrible for you if those people were your friends.
that was... But in the meantime, I got into the Army. I wasn't home.
Oh, you weren't home when that happened. That's all.
Eileen called me. We weren't married yet. She called me down there, and she got hell for it, and I got hell for it for the time of war and the telephone line. So she said there was a death. She told me there was a death in the family, or a friend. She said friend or death. I think she said death in the family. Anyway, she said the wrong thing, and they gave me hell for it. But they didn't have own lines to be playing around with your parents.
Really?
But when the word came through, they came. I was in the theater on a training film, And they came in and it was black, all dark, and then lights flashed on and come from the office and said, Private Munn is wanted at the your barracks. There's a death in the family. So I just about broke my leg getting back there 3, 4, 5 blocks, and I come around the corner of a latrine restroom, and here I bumped right in, bang, right into a captain. And boy, he started to rack me up because I didn't salute him.
Oh,
And I had, and I told him, I said, I'm heading for a phone for a death in the family. He grunted and grunted, so go on. But he didn't like it because I just snapped back at him. So that's one I do remember.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, that was art. And they've never found his body.
Yeah, I knew that.
Nor his boat. They got Cliff and Stan. They came up on the shore in the spring when the ice went out. But they were in there all winter.
That is something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We had one time, we had 4 people drowned here at one storm.
Terrible.
And we had 4 snowmobilers going over on the other side at night, and they were advised not to go across. They said the last they knew there was moving water out there. They came around from the north shore by the shoreline, and they wanted to go back over the other Zuccotti. They all 4 of them drowned.
Yeah, I remember that. It's terrible. It's terrible.
And then they had 3, I think. Was there 3 that hit the 3 of it? 4. Well, no, that one time when they had the 2 snowmobiles with 4 people on it, killed 3 of them. They run into the end of the runway down there. And,
Yeah, so can be a dangerous place, I tell you. Okay.
movies came over. They used to go to Greeley, or they used to go to Greeley mostly. And I tried to think who built the. I knew him well. He's an old-time theater man, and he was up around Houghton Lake there for a while, or around Roscommon a while.
Oh, Mr. Freeman?
No.
No?
No. He sold it after a while.
Somebody Marguerite Silsby told about that.
The theater up at Greeley didn't like it when he come in and put his head, when he stuck to it. He did well, and he was close enough to the movie trade. He knew some of them in the way they got their movies, somebody personally, that he got Gone with the Wind before anybody else got it. And Grayling had 5 theaters, West Ranch, here, and up to Grayling.
You mean the person that owned the theater in Grayling owned 5 theaters?
In the area, around the area, they owned 5. I guess they still own Olson's Theaters. And boy, did they fight that. They tried to get that franchise from him, but he got the, and so they got Gone with the Wind. And that, they couldn't get the people in there for weeks. They said they come from all over, because he was poor, and he got, for a lot of towns got Gone with the Wind.
So that was a smart move.
Well, it was smart, but I mean, it was a real break. When he did it, when he built that theater, he had no such things in mind as that, but that gave him a go-ahead. He sold that. I forgot who has that now. But the theater still there. I saw there the other day, and there were the pictures or the ads are on the front.
A young girl has it now.
Uh-huh.
I don't know her name.
She buy it from the Warrens.
Yes, I think so.
Who was it?
Well, you wouldn't know them. The Warrens had it for.
No, I don't remember them.
No, they
I've heard the name over there, but I haven't got over to Roscommon as much as I would like to, because there's also a lot of things going on around there, and we had the family and fish and hunting.
Did you go to the movies regularly?
I wouldn't say regular. We'd go when there was something else. When there was some show we wanted to see, we usually.
Sure.
Yeah.
How much did it cost back then?
Oh, I don't know,
Do you
20
remember?
cents or something like that. We got hamburgers, I know, and bowls of chili for 2 bits. Hamburgers were 15 cents.
Tell me about some of the restaurants when you were there before you were married.
Bob Eatways. And
Where was that?
right there where next to school office building.
Oh, okay.
And then there's
That's the one you talked about earlier.
The Tilton Hilton.
Okay.
Those.
Was that
in
still?
fact, Ma Beatway and her husband run the Tilton Hilton, and then they got the one up there, because the Tilton Hilton, they was afraid it was going to fall over on them. And they kept right on going, and people would come from Detroit, and they'd stop them. Where's the Tilton Hilton? They'd go and eat. It became a popular place.
What was it called then?
It was the...
In some of the pictures it says
yeah,
Beanies.
They were quite a family of them up there. There was a boy in high school. Their mother worked in there. Their dad had a pig farm outside of Roscommon. Oh.
So that wasn't when it was called Beanies.
That's what?
Beanies?
No, Beanie. I remember Beanies too. They were there for a while. After the first century. The restaurant was there when I went up. But somebody before it saw that's when it became the Tilton Hilton.
So
you've been in there, haven't you?
Oh yeah, it
Go
sank
right
a long time ago then.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
It was there when I moved up there in the 30s.
What was the name of the drugstore? Next to it?
DeWales.
Oh, it was DeWales.
That was Howard DeWale. That was the youngest boy.
Okay.
And
then after that, was it Mr. Grieve or Mr. Patty?
it was the ones that it was vacant for a short time, and that was the big family. They went to the 8 boys in the army here.
The Shermans.
Shermans. Yeah, the Shermans. Al Sherman. Al had it for quite a while. That's right. You're right on that. But Al worked in there. Al went in the post office. He was postmaster.
Well, Dad, who owned that drugstore when we were growing up? And we used to, when we would go over, sometimes my mother and the three of us would go ride over with him in the summertime when he worked over in Roscommon.
Over there.
Yeah, there was the drugstore that was not next to not Andy's, that was there, which is now the school office.
Well, across the corner there.
No, there used to be where the old bank was, which.
Yeah, that was.
Was in there for a while. Well, right in there was Schaefer, or was it?
That was Al Sherman had that.
Andy.
Well, Andy Sherman.
Andy had it there before he moved to the other one?
Yes, and he had the new one built.
But no, Andy would have been, I don't think he'd have been old enough.
Well, DeWale, Howard DeWale had that. Those the only guy.
It was Grieve. Andy bought it from Mr. Grieve.
Greaves, yeah.
That's who I'm thinking.
Well, that was Fred. You're going back. I remember Grieve. He was there a very short time.
But we used to go in there and they had a soda fountain.
Yeah, on the side there.
And we used to go in and get these great sodas. But when we were kids, we would, Dr. Marks would write out a prescription for, I think probably what it was some sort of a tonic. From that little drugstore, you know how most kids don't want to take anything? This stuff must have been like in the early.
Greaves was married to one of the Richardsons.
Yes. So do you remember who owned it before Mr. Grieve? Was that Mr. DeWale?
Yeah, I remember the name. I wasn't there, but I heard it so much.
Because
they referred to that his. And he had stuff like horse tonics, horse medicine.
Was it Mr. Patty?
Patty's, and then they got Patty's Pines outside of town there, just across the bridge, across the river.
Patty's what?
Patty's Pines. That grove of pine trees, that thick grove, they're about that big. They're big enough now for house logs, but they were just little ones like that. Patty's Pines out there, raised just outside of
Did he
Roscommon.
plant them?
Yeah, they planted them. They'll go thick.
Yeah.
Patty's Pines, they're still there. They thinned them. They thinned them and they took house logs.
Well, last Saturday, a lady came to the museum who was Patty's daughter. She's 85 years old, and she was a pharmacist also. And the girl who was working that day did not know anything about the history of it. So,
Oh, that's a shame.
yeah, because she was telling her. But we're going to try and contact her.
Well,
She lives in
a
Boston.
lot of the younger people, they wouldn't know that unless their parents had told them.
Right. Would you remember Mr. Patty?
He was just had left there just a short time before, within a year.
Oh, okay.
He sold out to DeWales.
Okay.
And they used to have in those drugstores. Then they'd have one side horse remedies, cattle remedies,
Oh,
People, they had everybody drove a horse and buggy.
well,
And
sure.
they're just but they had some old ones in there. And Henry Ewell, Howard was supposed to he was the druggist. He went to Ferris and became, and Henry is the father, and it's Charlie Ewell's father. Uh, he would get in there and have these old horse remedies and for spasms and all that stuff, the whole lot, and he never would get rid of one of them. He always figured maybe someday, he was tighter than a bark tree, he figured someday he could sell one of those for $1 or 50 cents or something. But finally, when not Andy, the one before Andy, Greaves got it, he cleaned them out.
Or did he got?
Some of them had been in there for 40 years,
No
50
kidding.
years. But that was a good business when the day of the horses.
Sure.
Farmers and log workers and people on their carriages.
Sure.
I remember, and maybe this might be a little of interest to you. I remember when people would come up there. They had the livery stable, and prior to before I come up there, they all did that. The women would come from Chicago or Detroit for the all old rich people. They'd come home soon school. They'd stay all summer at Higgins Lake. It wasn't like it is now when you'd be coming in for a week and cars. And they would stay in there, and the livery stable would take the women out in the carriage and the trunks in the wagon, and that was the livery stable. What they find.
So when you first came here, the cars were just starting to be common.
Well, they'd had cars quite a while because cars, but they used to. It was only 2 or 3, 4 years that they drove all winter. They used to put them on blocks. When they come winter, they'd jack them up in their garage or barn or whatever. Could have been side. They'd jack them up the weight off the tires, and it's just been the recent years, 3, 4 years, that they were plowed roads to Grayling and to Houghton Lake, and that the county got road plows.
So before that, they got their sleigh out for the winter.
They got the sleigh and the color, no horse or horses.
Yeah, yeah. Gee, that is something.
Well, I had that at home too. We had folks who was on the farm, and when people were getting cars in Lansing, they were getting the snow plows or Owasso, if you know where Owasso is, and all those places. They had their streetcars. They kept the streetcars going, keep the snow out of the tracks. Trolley and third rail. There was at that time that went right by our house and the farm. The third rail went from Owasso to Lansing, from Lansing to Jackson, or the other way from Lansing to St. John's. They had them going to all. They go along the night, you know, toot, and they're going orange to the roads, crossroads. Before they come to a crossroad, they had cow catchers on them, animal catchers on them.
Sure. Well, when you came to Roscommon, were there car dealerships here?
Yes, Shepherd's.
Was that the only one?
Yeah, that was the Ford, and then Bertels had the Chevrolet.
Oh, okay.
And the bigger, they had some bigger cars at Grayling. I guess that was it. I guess it was the 2 car dealers. And they're still there, as far as I know. Chevrolet, of course, it's moved from where it was. It's down there on
Yeah, everybody's out of town now.
Olds and Chevy. Mary has them.
Yeah.
I think you have a Chevy out here now, don't you? She got
I got a loaner from that.
she's having
Did some work on my car.
work done on her.
Sure. Did most of the homes have electricity by the time you
But
came?
they had their own power plant at Grayling or at Houghton Lake. Or not. No, they didn't have it here. Well, they had it when I got here.
In the
But
40s.
they had, but not when I come up. They didn't have, they just got, but they had a power plant right back in the old bank building there where the telephone office is. That old brick building right down the corner. Right back of that there's a little factory up there on the hill when you went up to the church.
Right by the water tower?
Yeah, right by the water tower. That was the
power plant?
That was the power plant right behind it. Yeah, that was the power plant. And it had the big water tower.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, and I've tried to think of the guy's name and on a tombstone. Died 8 or 9 years ago. I was up to see up to my mother's tombstone up, and I looked over in here.
Mr. Wallace?
No, it was before Wallace.
Is your mother buried here in Roscommon?
Yeah, no, here at Houghton Lake.
Oh, at Houghton Lake.
Yeah, she died after I got in. My dad is buried up here.
Hmm. And where?
Up here.
Oh,
Oh. It's full filled.
Oh yeah, they fill up.
People will die.
They will. They sure will.
Well, I can't. I try to think of. After you're gone, I know there've been several funny little things that I haven't forgotten them, and I have.
Well, tell us about how did Percy happen to get hired?
The bank was growing. We were getting pushed, and there was Si Rutledge's wife was working over there, and she was leaving. And what's the log cabin company up there? DeWitt. DeWitt. We put him on our board, and we wanted somebody with some. Oh, I know what the big thing was. We put a branch over to Mayo, and Mayo was quite a progressive, busy place over there, quite a little business for a small town. So we're going to have to take a man out of our Roscommon to put him from management over because you couldn't take a green man. So Roy DeWitt knew this young fellow that worked in the bank in Pontiac, and he'd been there and he got quite a lot of experience. So we hired him, and it was Percy Lehman.
And then he started out in Mayo.
And no, we got one of the guys in the Houghton Lake, or from Roscommon, over to Mayo, and then hired a man over when they learned the business. He was the county treasurer or county clerk and county. He had 2 offices. Anyway, he had 2 county offices on that, and he had applied to us a couple times he'd kind of like get out of his county business. So he took over. We brought him over to the Roscommon office and had him working there for quite a while. He retired his job and brought one of the girls over that worked over there someplace and trained other girls, bookkeepers, trained her in bookkeeping. And so it worked out pretty good. When we had 7 banks.
Amazing.
They sold 2 of them. Well, they sold them all. NVD bought them out. We took out this is nothing for your hair. This is jabbering. We took out insurance on our employees. We got a pretty good plan. Mary thinks it's a good one. We still have it. And
you mean a health care?
Yeah, no, for our health. Yeah, and we got that when we got Orson over, Orson come over, and we got him under the insurance. And,
who?
Orson Sherwood. He's dead now. He was a manager of the Mayo. And I forgot, kind of lost my.
You're talking about getting the health insurance.
Yeah, we got the health insurance. Oh yeah, we took out health insurance, and it was going good. I still have it, same company. And I got over here and I worked for a while, and darned if the Roscommon Bank, then the stockholders sold out the NBD. And that left us, so we hung on to our insurance. And it happened at NBD, well, we were part of the NBD then. The NBD had the same insurance with their employees. So it's on that. Well, we worked that and got that straightened out and got our cards and cared for insurance. And lo and behold, one morning we found out that we had a new boss. The NBD sold for the First National Chicago. They merged. Well, they used the First National Chicago to their insurance, so we got their insurance and retirement plan. And not the retirement plan. We tried to get the retirement plan, but Wanted so many curves in it that our board didn't go for it. And we got out of the well, NBAD anymore. It was first NBD and First National Chicago. That was what their title was. Anyway, a lot of things got to go, and we got to know some of the guys down in the insurance department and things we'd have to find out. Bang, they sold out the one they got now. Mm-hmm. So I just get things straightened out in my insurance.
And
the different people knew about it, and I get stuck again. So we're waiting now to see
what will be next?
Yeah, what we got now?
Bank One.
What?
It's Bank One.
Well,
now.
Bank One. I can't even forget them anymore. So we started out in Roscommon State Bank, First National Bank, National Bank of Detroit, First National Chicago, and Bank One. Mm-hmm. Worked in the last few years. Mm-hmm. All I have now is
progress.
I don't know. I guess maybe it is, but England has, they don't have no small banks.
Oh.
They have branches. Now up at Canada and the Sioux, that's Canadian. Mm-hmm. They've got a lot of banks up there. They're all branches. Mm-hmm. Every bank out of the 8 or 9 banks in England, each one got a branch up there. Oh. And they got the original that they had up there, only if the name has changed. And then they put in more branches. Mess up.
Well, it must work for them.
I don't know. It all depends how modern they are, how what's working.
If they keep up, yeah. Well, I say you had a pretty good career at the bank. Now, did you know Mr. Orcutt? Were they still?
Mr. Orcutt was president of the bank, the first president of the bank over there.
But was his son still there when you came?
No, he wasn't there. Between that, they had Orcutt, and then they had another one for a while, and then Mr. Barnes.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Barnes was there quite a while.
Until the accident?
Yep.
Then who was president after him?
Charlie DeWill.
Oh, yeah, this is in the book that Percy wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you didn't know.
Oh, that book with all the pictures in it?
Yeah.
That's his wife.
Yeah.
She
did a nice job with that. So you didn't know any of the Orcutts?
Oh, yeah, I knew Orcutt's son. He was on it for a long time. I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, he wasn't.
Burton.
I don't think he was more than 10, 15 years older than me.
Oh.
He might not be living now. That would be he'd be really old. But
did he work when you came there? Was he still involved with the bank?
No, he used to come down. No, he wasn't even on the board. Unless just before I could come there or something.
Mm-hmm. But you knew him?
Yeah, I got to know him quite well. Yeah, I liked him. Mm-hmm. I liked him. And there was Harry McConkie. He was a customer, and Clarence Smith was a director for a while, as a customer. He was an attorney. And,
okay.
And Not Old Rock was a lumberman.
Uh-huh. What was he like?
Well, he was a nice guy.
Yeah?
Yeah. His wife lived till just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear of
well, I know she was one of the Shepherd girls.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know her personally, but I knew of her.
Yeah, boy, you got pretty well posted at Roscommon. Of course, you're out on that work all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh. It's easier for the ones that grew up here, though. Like,
did I tell you about our papers we got over the Army?
Mm-hmm.
The
told me
Irish
about that.
girl.
What did you talk about at the birthday party? About?
Oh, that was Dwayne McWilliams was right beside me. We got just when here we were this great big Army base down, and I didn't even know he was in the Army yet in Florida. And we were in on the base. We come around the corner of the building, and here was Dwayne right there, Bango. So we had to get together. And then when we went out that night, we went down to the hotel, the bar room, and had some beer, mm-hmm. and that was number one. Well, then Elwin Matheson. Darn if he didn't end up in that base out of 3-4 million men in the Army or more.
Yeah.
And he was there, and then your lady friend, or Eileen Vader friend,
Lockery?
No, they in the hard.
Woody.
I know there were 5 of us, all there in that, right from Roscommon, about the same time with 50,000 other soldiers. We happened to bump right into. The chances we could have very well been down there for 2 years. We'd been over on the other side of the base.
Isn't that something?
When we had a party one night at the hotel, 5 of us, and my wife, 6. She sat and laughed.
She came to Florida to visit you?
My wife, yeah.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah.
That was pretty
She
good.
come down after the school year was over. So we were married during the school year, and she came down. The school year was over in June. She come down, and I was there till August. So she stayed in the room, and I stayed off the base at night.
Oh.
It was kind of a rough deal too, because I was 20 miles from the base, and I had to be. I got off early enough at night, pretty good. But work, but in the morning I had to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That was the middle of the night.
Yeah, went on by bus.
There was someone else though there, wasn't there, Dad, when she was there from Roscommon?
No, there was a young man from there was in the finance. He was from Milwaukee, and his wife was there with her. And
Was Mary Lockery or one of the Lockerys
no, they weren't
involved?
there. No, I don't know of any. Could have been very well Mary, but the one that stayed in the same rooming house as Eileen, this Sechrist, was from Milwaukee. His wife came to visit. She was a school teacher, and she came to visit him, and they roomed in the same rooming house right next to each other, and they took a liking to each other, and they went out in the daytime, go down to the ocean.
Well, she told me they spent a lot of time in the theater because it was the only place that was air conditioned.
Yeah, well, they both liked the theater. They spent, they did spend,
3-4 times in a row.
but they went out to the circus ground, and they go out to the beach, but they spent a lot of time. They wouldn't spend. I don't suppose they were in the forenoon in the theater.
Well, tell me a little bit more about Eileen. Tell me about, do you remember her?
Her mother and father are both Irish. Her name was McGurk, and lived in Mount Pleasant. And she was a family lady. She had 9 children. Irish. He was Irish. McGurk. Both of them. They were McGurk, married to McGurk, with no relation.
Oh, really?
And they came to the States at about just before she was married. I don't know if he knew her over in Ireland, did he?
Pardon me?
He didn't know her in Ireland, did he? No.
Grandpa was not born in Ireland. His mother.
Oh, I thought
Father
Grandpa was
was
born in
born-
Ireland too. Okay.
And Grandma was born
he
in
met,
Ireland.
He met her in this Irish community down in Mount Pleasant. A lot of Irish farmers out there. Very prosperous farmers too. But it's prosperous farmland. I mean, some of the
See,
best.
her grandpa's, my grandfather was married, or my grandfather's mother was married to, I believe their last name was Timmons. And it occurred, at the turn of, and she had this little boy. And and he was like a baby, infant. And about 3 years later, when he met and married a McGurk.
Oh,
She
okay.
remarried. And that McGurk had 2 brothers, and one of his daughters was my grandma. So they were first cousins, but they weren't.
Oh.
There was no blood relation, but that's how they, but my grandma was actually, her mother and father were Irish, but she was born in Scotland because these 3 Irish brothers to work in the factories.
Well, they did meet though in America.
No, I'm saying that Grandma was born in Scotland and had,
So-
even though she was 100% Irish, she had a very thick Scottish brogue because she didn't come over here till she was 16.
So she immigrated to America, but he
was born here.
was born here.
But-
Okay.
But
Well,
he
tell me
had-
about Eileen's education.
Yeah, you can do that better than I
Well,
can.
she went to Sacred Heart Academy, the Catholic school in Mount Pleasant, and then from there went on to Central. And so that was during the Depression, and
That's the part I want you to
yeah,
tell.
they didn't have a whole lot of money, and so her father said that if she wanted to attend college, that he would tuition, and her older brother would help her sisters, who was working. It's not working right now, or?
I don't know why it doesn't. I had to oil it one time.
Is it
You
running?
want me to hit it?
But anyway, the whole family more or less pitched in, the older brothers and sisters, and her father pitched in, and that's how and she worked too, full time, you know, she cleaned houses, she did everything just to make some money.
Eileen's mother.
No, mother, herself. When she got, grandma didn't have to go to college, this was
Oh,
mother,
yeah.
she went to college. And she graduated, and then she
With a
had
bachelor's degree.
bachelor's degree, yeah, more than just the normal school kind of thing. And then she had 5 job offers. They used to come to the colleges to recruit, and any of those towns, none of them were familiar, but she picked Roscommon because it was Irish. That was why she picked it. Told me that her father drove her up.
Good choice.
She didn't know anybody in town, and she stayed at the Colonial Hotel
Isn't
there.
it?
I think the first year she lived in the Colonial Hotel, didn't she, Dad? For the
She lived there for quite a while, yeah.
And the funny thing was that for a small town, there were like a number of teachers had retired all at the same time, so they had hired like 6 young single gals, and in this town there were like 6 or 7 young single men. And they all ended up being good friends, and they ended up marrying each other. And but she and another gal moved into an apartment that was above
Post office, the old post office.
the old post office right there on the main.
Now by the railroad track, right
Yeah.
beside.
And she told me that it was furnished, brand new,
That's
furnished.
where it again is today.
Well, I think that
The
for a
consignment
while
shop.
was the consignment shop, yes, it was above that. Brand new, 2 apartments furnished for $30 a month. Her share was $15. But she said they did very little cooking because at that time, it was K through 12th grade was all in that one building. And even though she was an elementary teacher, they were required to chaperone all the high school events. You know, they really, I mean, it was a full-time job when you were a teacher. So she would go down back to the Colonial Hotel, I guess, which had a restaurant, and she said they would get like a roast beef dinner. It would be roast beef, mashed potatoes, salad, vegetable, drink, dessert, everything for about 30 cents. And so she said they would eat a lot of their meals there just because they didn't have time.
Mrs. Lockery was one great cook, the old lady. She was good. She could make pies.
She lived there for quite a long time. I don't remember who her roommate was.
Here's your lawn man.
Yeah, I don't remember who her roommate was, but it was one of those new teachers. You know, it was about the same time.
Well, Mary would have been Mary being friends with.
They were good friends. Why are you hitting that?
It keeps stopping. Don't ask me why.
Now, of course,
Mr.
and
Munn.
another individual that is well known in town there as an educator came, I think, a year after my mother or a year before my mother from Minnesota, and they worked together
Oh, okay.
for.
Earl.
The reason I asked you was hitting, I thought maybe it was automatically changing some.
No, it just stops. I know it's almost to the end. So we have to wind this up anyway.
Well, a lot of things that I wish I could tell you that I've forgotten.
Well, I think you did quite well, don't you?
It's there's some really funny things that happened over there. Well, I don't, but I've forgotten them now, and forgot the circumstances.
one
You
thing
said
that
how.
one
Let's
thing
go
that-
back to what you told me about Roscommon, how the town looked when you came. You said it was old and.
Well, there were no modern buildings, no brick buildings. They were all frame, and the old false front, most of them false front stores, kept up reasonably good. But the Lockridge grocery store and the McCready's grocery store, and McCready's was on the corner, they were just no modern buildings. And it wasn't until later, until they built the garage on the corner. That was a Ford garage, and now I guess it's a
Office.
office,
Okay,
yeah, office. But that was Shepherd's Ford dealership there. And then over in one of the side streets, over in that toward the theater, on Bortles built a one-story brick place in there, and they had hardware stuff in there, and not a full line. And I think they had Chevrolet. That was the Bertles was a large family, and I think the 3-4 of the Bertle people left yet. Fritz died, And there were quite a bunch of boys in that family.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I can remember you telling me stories about how every year they had a big ice skating rink.
Outdoor rink, yeah.
Yeah, where
Oh,
was that
that was in
located?
high school grounds. They flooded. They took all the WPA men that was working. They were being paid, so they'd flood the schoolyard.
Oh, behind it?
The old schoolhouse, where
Yeah.
along the side of it there, on the corner, and to the downtown.
The corner towards the courthouse?
Yeah, they put a pretty decent. And the kids come down from Grayling. A lot of them would come down to the ice skate.
Really?
You couldn't. They tried to do well to them, but they tried so many times out to Higgins. Clean off a place because you only get the wind would come, blow the snow and fill it in. And so, of course, they had WPA men working it out. Leveled this off and flooded it and had it and kept it up. And every night after they shut down, I think they shut off at 11 o'clock at night, they'd level it off and get all the snow, the ice that got cut and with the sharp skates. In fact, when I went up there and figured I was going to stay, I got thinking, God, I'll have some good ice skating.